Thank you for listening to this edition of the Christian Car Guy podcast. It's brought to you by Mr. Quick Pick Lock and Road. Mr. Quick Pick is the opportunity for you to start your own roadside assistance business. If you have more investment energy than investment capital, stop working for someone else. Mr. Quick Pick Lock and Road is the opportunity to have your own home-based business, working directly with auto clubs and leveraging a national brand and marketing strategy. Mr. Quick Pick helps people who have run out of gas, locked their keys in their car, or need a jump start. An A-plus rated company with the Better Business Bureau and the 3-time winner of the Members' Choice Award for customer service. This could be the chance you've been looking for to serve others at the point of crisis and even share your walk with Christ. So whether you're looking for a business opportunity or in need of emergency roadside assistance, choose Mr. Quick Pick Lock and Road. MrQuickPick.com. Now sit back and enjoy this podcast of the Christian Car Guy Radio Show.
Go! I'm gonna wake you up early 'cause I'm gonna take a ride with you. We're going down to the Honda shop, I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
You've lost that driving feeling. Oh, that driving feeling.
Christian Car Guy Radio Show.
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud. Nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud.
Negotiations Bible style. Bible style. Bible. Negotiations Bible style.
It's not a big motorcycle, just a groovy little motorbike. It's more fun than a barrel of monkeys at two-wheel fight. We'll ride on out of the town to any place I know you like. First gear, it's all right.
We are live today on the Christian Car Guy Show from Honda Motorsports of Winston-Salem. It happens to be in Winston-Salem. It's a coincidence. Right here on Stratford Road. And today is food, fun, family, and a Foursquare Tournament. That's all going on, and we're going to get to all that in a minute. But also on today's Christian Car Guy Show, the road to prayer. And yes, Bill, that there might be a motorcycle on that road, or even God. But, Bill, you've got some stuff on motorcycles today that you want to talk about, insurance.
People rarely think about what happens if someone is injured by their recreational vehicle, their all-terrain vehicle, or their boat. Thought we might take a little time to talk about misconceptions, holes in insurance protection, and the need to think about what could happen and whether you're prepared if somebody's injured by your recreational vehicle.
Wow. But what I'm talking about, the road to prayer. You see, my life selling cars, the basic thing they taught every young car salesman, they call it the road to the sale. And every car salesman out there knows exactly what I'm talking about because it was beat into your head. This is the road to the sale. You got to know the road to the sale. Number one is meet and greet. Number two is you got to establish common ground. And then number three, you got to qualify and fact find. And number four, you got to do a feature presentation. Then you got to do a test drive. You got to do a trial close. You got to do a close, and then you can deliver the car. It's all about the road to the sale. And there were many variations, and they taught that. It's a step-by-step way to sell a car. And in my view, understanding the steps really does help with selling a lot of different things. But here's a really cool thing I discovered this week. Jesus gave us this plan way before anybody ever taught it to a car salesman. They didn't even have cars back then, Tom. But those same principles that Jesus gave us in the road to the prayer could take you on even the road to a marriage or the road to intimacy with God. So all you car people out there, you know what I'm talking about today. You know about the road to the sale, and I don't know if you've ever thought of how it lined up with Jesus' teaching on the road to prayer. And I will tell you, if you take the Dr. Sonny acronym, ASK, which Jesus said, ask, and you will find, there starts with A. Seek, starts with an S, and you'll find, right? And right. Knock, which starts with a K. Ask, it's an acronym within an acronym. Ask, seek, knock. We're going there. We're going to find out all about that. And today in our last segment, for those of you who follow Christian Car Guy Theater, I'm so excited to tell you that we have Jailhouse Justice Part 2. Bad Brad has busted out of jail, and Deputy Eustace is in hot pursuit. You don't want to miss that. It's coming up in the third segment and last segment today on Christian Car Guy Theater. So food, fun, family, and Foursquare. And here is the voice of the Truth Network. We have Tom Booth. And how exciting is it to be out here today?
Good morning. It is very exciting to be out here this morning. And I am interested to know more about Foursquare.
And send a kid to camp.
That's right. That's the thrust of this this whole gathering here today.
Send a kid to camp. Yeah.
So which camp are we talking about, and how do we do this?
We're talking campaigns, and anybody that comes in today. Obviously, we're out here. If you're in the area now, I realize if you're in Seattle, Washington today, you're in Salt Lake City. That might be a bit of a drive. So in your case, you can go to our website and email us and send a donation, and we'd love that. But we are sending kids to campaigns here in North Carolina, and the people that are in our area, we sure would love for them to come for Send a Kid to Camp Saturday. And for any donation of any amount, they're going to get Stu's book.
Stu's book right here, Last Words of Jesus, just in time for the Easter holiday.
Well said, Tom.
All right.
And a Foursquare Tournament, what's happening there, right over here in the Can-Am building, because we really are at Honda Motorsports. I mean, we're surrounded by motorcycles, Can-Ams. There's Sea-Doos back there. There's all sorts of stuff. But the Foursquare Tournament over there, for those of you who know what Foursquare is, it's kind of like a cross between basketball and dodgeball, and they have a ball, and anyway, they're having a ball over there, and the winning team gets an all-expense trip to Myrtle Beach. So come over here. You don't have to register. Just come right in here and join in the tournament. It's going to be going on until 1 o'clock. Stu himself is over there foursquaring, Tom.
Now, we would be a team, right? How many, 4 on a team?
Yes. So,
well, what are you laughing for?
And then there's food. We got delicious Krispy Kreme donuts. They're hot and fresh. We just got those off Krispy Kreme on Stratford Road. They are hot and fresh. Do you see them, Tom?
I see them.
Yes. So we are live here today. We would certainly love to see anybody that wants to come out. It is Send a Kid to Camp weekend, and we would love to give away a lot of Stu's books. So all this, again, is at the website, ChristianCarGuy.com. There's hundreds of articles. There's all about this road to the prayer and how that works out with the asking and the seeking and the knocking. And this is going to be fun. We're going to enjoy talking about that, as well as a podcast of Christian Car Guy Theater. You can listen to all the previous episodes. You can find out how bad Brad got even put in jail to begin with. You don't know, do you, Tom?
No, I don't.
And then, also very important at the website, ChristianCarGuy.com, the Jesus Labor of Love. That's car repair labor, single moms, widows, families in crisis. And for those of you who have been listening for the last few weeks, you know we've had this lady that needed a transmission, and then she needed another van, and then this lady, a listener, called in, Tom, after we locked our shields and donated a van.
Really?
Really, and I got the title this week, and I got to meet this lady. How sweet. And she gave me the title, and now next week we're going to be delivering this van to Raleigh, and it's all God working through
about that.
The listeners, because there was a lot of prayer going on that day when we were really in a bind. We did not know how to help this lady. She has a daughter who's in a wheelchair, so she had to have a van, and it was a miracle thing. So, again, the Jesus Labor Love, it's all there at ChristianCarGuy.com. But, Bill, we got to find out about this, man. People are out there riding stuff, and they're not properly covered.
People often think a moped or a motorcycle cannot do much damage, so having it properly insured is not that important to them. But there are a lot of accidents where a motorcycle or a rider might get knocked down, and a lot of traffic will dodge to try and keep from hitting them. Those accidents that happen as people try to keep from running over that motorcycle or that rider is the responsibility of the motorcycle that went down. There have been people riding all-terrain vehicles and fall off or run in or run over that can be a very expensive and dangerous accident. If somebody spends a few days in the hospital or, Lord forbid, dies, that can be a life-changing financial problem for the owner or the operator of that all-terrain vehicle. Motor vehicles, all motorized land conveyances, are
All
excluded.
motorized land conveyances.
You
Well, there you go. If somebody's got a tank.
If it's got a motor on it, it's excluded from your homeowner's policy unless it's used for
So
the
that,
upkeep.
Tom,
Wow.
that tank out in your backyard,
Well,
it's not covered.
and it only gets 2 miles to the gallon, too.
Well, a lot of people think that golf cart that they own or that four-wheelers that they cruise around on their property on is insured. And they let their kids, let their friends ride it, or they run down the street and they cause an accident, or they're off in the woods and those things are excluded by both your
And so do they make
homeowners
policies
and your auto.
that-
They do.
They do.
So there's a special kind of insurance that you're like for a golf cart?
There's a special policy for a golf cart. There's a special policy for that.
Does it cover you if somebody hits you with a ball?
Probably not. And the picture of that goat that you put up on the webpage, if your goat falls off the back of your motorcycle, that's not covered. But it's really important to sit down.
See, well, we have to go back to the goat on the motorcycle because a lot of people are going, what in the world? Well, if you go to ChristianCarGuy.com, Tom, he sent me an article last week. And he said, Robbie, I sent you this article. But he did not send a title. And so I thought I need to come up with a title that would be somewhat catchy, humorous. And so I found a picture of a goat on the back of a motorcycle with it. And I said, we're not kidding. You need
I assumed all your listeners started their day looking at the Christian Car Guy webpage.
And I wasn't kidding. It was right there, the goat and the whole thing. So we come back. We're going to find more about this insurance issue. We're going to find out about the road to a prayer. But we are still live from Honda of Winston-Salem. It is Send a Kid to Camp Saturday. We're having food, fun, family. We need you, though. Without you here, it's not near as much fun. So we got so much more coming up. Stay tuned.
Go! I'm gonna wake you up early cause I'm gonna take a ride with you. We're going down to the Honda shop, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Put on a ragged sweatshirt, I'll take you anywhere you want me to. First gear.
Yes, we are live from Honda Motorsports of Winston-Salem. That's Honda, Can-Am, Sea-Doo, all that stuff. And we have fun, family, food, and Foursquare because it's Send a Kid to Camp Saturday here at the Truth Network. And we've got this Can-Am building over here. They're doing a Foursquare tournament, so we got still plenty of time for you. We got chicken minis and Krispy Kreme donuts, Tom. And
Lots of fun.
Oh, man. So if you're in this area, we would love to see you. But either way, we've got a great show lined up for you. Bill's talking about what about recreational vehicles and insurance, and what are some of the things that might concern you there? And then we're going to talk about the road to a prayer. We're going to get to all that. So, Bill, when we left our hero, you were in the tank with your goat. And you were not covered.
Your recreational vehicles are not covered by your homeowner's policy, and they can't be added onto an automobile policy. You need a special policy. So if you're worried about somebody stealing them or wrecking them, but worse, if you're worried about them being the hub of an accident or somebody on it being injured, you need to make sure you've got a separate policy to take care of that risk. Often it's not that expensive.
And so this is one of those places, right, Tom, where with many counselors plans succeed, you know, that proverb of having somebody in your, circle of friends or an agent that you can actually talk to, not a 1-800 number, so to speak, but somebody that
knows these things.
All right, and there's nothing like, I'm telling you, when you remember the hurricane came through last fall, I was in Colorado fishing at the time with my granddaughter, which I've told that story, which she loves to tell everybody is her. But anyway, and I lost my train of thought. All right, I was in Colorado fishing, and my wife called me, and my daughter's, there was a branch that went through the roof of her car. Wow. And there's nothing like at that particular moment having
An insurance agent?
There you go. I had your 1-800 number to call, and I had somebody to talk to.
We do. In my office, the phone rings over to my cell phone nights and weekends just in case a client has an emergency. We like to be there for them. And if anybody'd like to review their coverages with me, even if you're not insured with me, it would be my pleasure to take a little bit of time to do that. And while I've got a moment, I want to put in a plug for campaigns. No matter where you live in this nation, if you're looking for a really great place for your kids to spend a week or two during the summer, I can personally tell you that the YMCA campaigns in our area is awesome. And you can go to kenthames.org and look it up. But it is a really great way to spend a week or two during the summer if you're a youth.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing the Send to Camp. And Tom, it's amazing how many kids fall in love with Jesus at camp, fall in love with the worship experience at camp, and they grow closer to Jesus at camp.
Yeah, that's right. And it's also amazing how many people can't afford to go to camp. There are a lot. That's an expense. It's a big expense, and a lot of parents don't have the money to send their kids to camp. And so this is a great thing that's going on with the Send a Kid to Camp. And come in and get a donation. If you give us a donation, we'll give you a copy of Last Words of Jesus: First Steps to a Richer Life, Stu Epperson Jr.'s first book. And
yes, and it really is. It's an Easter treasure.
Yeah, it really is.
It's to spend time thinking about what Jesus went through in his passion and what those things meant. Mm-hmm. And even their whole connection to it connected so many dots of the Bible for me. And speaking of dots of the Bible, we got to get to this road to the prayer, right?
All right.
And for those of us we were talking about earlier, if you ever sold cars, which I would love for you to call in at 866-348-7884. If you have any question or comment, or you want to know something about what we're talking about, or maybe you've got a four-wheeler that you want to insure and you've got a question for Bill, by all means, 866-348-7884. But all of us that sold cars, and probably anybody that was trained in sales, they had some type of road to the sale. These are the steps. These are the things that you're supposed to do. And I'm going to bet you that all of them you ever came across had something to do with some kind of a greeting, some type of an establishing common ground. And you might know that Jesus established common ground with common ground, the parable of the soils, right? Anyway, you want to establish common ground, and then you moved into the qualifying steps, and on you go. So I want you to think, I was reading a book by D.L. Moody called, we got it at the NRB. It's called Prevailing Prayer. Mm-hmm. It's one of the Moody classic books. And in that book, he said that you hear that motorcycle in the background? That's pretty good. Huh?
Wow.
He said that you could take Christians and you can put them in those three categories of askers, where Jesus talked about in Matthew 7, ask, seek, and knock. He said you've got askers, you've got seekers, and you got knockers. That's just the way he put it. Nonetheless, Bill. Anyway,
I still have this picture of him uncovered with a goat.
Yeah, there he is.
The goat was on the back of the motorcycle.
On the tank. But anyway, as I thought about that, I really started to think about what really Christians are in those categories, and what exactly does that mean? And as I began to process that, I thought, wait a minute, this is like the road to the sale. That when you just take, for example, that you met a girl and you wanted to go out with her, right? You would ask her out. That's the first step. You got to establish common ground. You got to have a meet and greet. So you would ask, and then you would find yourself seeking, right, to find her house. And you would have to go through the neighborhood looking for where to go, which is very similar, if you think about it, Bill, to, what it's like, when you're in that qualifying step, trying to understand what kind of car somebody wants to buy. You got to find the perfect car for them. Well, it's the same kind of thing. You got to find the girl's house. And then once you find the house, you're not going to go out on the date if you don't knock on the door.
That's right.
And what Moody said, which I thought was phenomenal, was that so many Christians knock on the door of prayer, and then like the little kids, they go running away before they get a chance to go in. And we're going to get to all this stuff, Bill.
Good. Wonderful.
You promise?
It's called the Road to a Prayer, and I'm not losing my mind. But we are at Honda Winston-Salem on Stratford Road. If you're in the area, please come join us because we got food, fun, family, and Foursquare.
It's alright. It's not a big motorcycle, just a groovy little motorbike. It's more fun than a barrel of monkeys that two-wheel fight. We'll ride on out of the town to any place I know you like. First gear.
We are live today on the Christian Car Guys Show from Honda Motorsports of Winston-Salem. Honda Can-Ams and Sea-Doos all around us. How wonderful. And we've got food, fun, family, and Foursquare. A Foursquare tournament going on as we speak. Somebody's going to win all expense. Not all expense, but some expense. It's an accommodations package to Myrtle Beach. And no, it's not a Times Square, Tom. It is really a nice thing. My wife and I have been on it several times. It's really a nice thing. And it does have some other amenities like rides and things that go with the Myrtle Beach thing. And all you have to do is enter the Foursquare tournament, and it's all because it's Send a Kid to Camp Saturday.
Campaigns.
Yes, and so for a donation of any amount, we have got these Last Words of Jesus books. We would love to give these out. Of course, we would love to meet you. And you know, and a lot of folks have never Tom doesn't get out with us at all these events. It's really nice to have the voice of the Truth Network here on the Christian Car Guys Show.
And it's a pleasure to be here. I understood. Now, Stu is going to be here to autograph these books, right?
He is here.
Yeah.
And he's out. He's in the Foursquare thing. I think he's playing his whatever. He's good. He will be here, and he will sign them, Stu. I mean, he will sign him, Tom.
Well, he'll sign him any way you ask him to, I bet.
You're in rare form today, Bill.
Is that goat?
Yeah. You can get Tom Booth to sign the book if you want. However it works. But when we had left our hero this time, we weren't in the tank with a goat. We were with Robbie in talking about the Road to a Prayer. And this acronym that really, I think Dr. Sonny would be proud because it's an acronym inside an acronym of ask and seek and knock. And I was comparing it to the age-old concept of the road to the sale, and I really want to go back through that. And the nice thing about remember to ask is if you're asking and you're seeking and knocking, all three in the same thing. So if you're selling a car, right, you got to ask a customer if they need help. You got to walk up to them. If somebody's in this showroom right now, watch the salesperson. I'll bet you very shortly they're going to ask them if they can help them. Right. And their first thing that they're trying to think, if you're a good salesperson, is what kind of motorcycle would be good, what kind of Can-Am, what kind of would be good for this particular person. So they're actually seeking, Tom.
Okay.
They're seeking the right vehicle. And if you're a good salesperson, I assure you that that's what your motive is you're sitting there processing with your customer what would fit their budget, what would be good for the size of their family. If, like we talked about the Lady of Love, she's got to have something that would fit her daughter in the wheelchair. You've got all these issues that you're literally seeking, trying to find a way. Well, think about prayer for a minute and how you're seeking. I don't know if I bet you are like me, Tom. You get up in the morning and you're in the Bible and you are seeking to find the Lord. Mm-hmm. And you start reading a passage and you're like, show me Jesus, right? It's a seeking process.
Right.
And so you opened it up by asking if it's okay. Then you came and you began to seek through this whole process. And then while you're seeking to find the right vehicle, you find the right one. And they go take a test drive and they're like, oh, man, this is exciting and it fits my budget. Well, at some point in time, and I have sat with many, many, many car salesmen over the years, they would never ask the closing question, which was simply, and I would teach my salespeople, there's an easy way to do this. Just say, do you want to get it?
Yeah.
Don't say today, because then you sound like a car salesman. Do you want to get it today? Don't do that. Just say, do you want to get it? And that's a closing. It's a great question. Mm-hmm. And if they say no, then you're on the wrong car. They don't have you need to find a car they really want to buy.
Okay.
And so when you're there with God, do you want entrance into heaven? I mean, you have to knock, right? That's what Jesus said in Revelation. Knock and we'll be open to you. You have to close. You have to say, I want in. I want in. And that's where communion takes place, Tom. Because that's what he says. I'm going to eat with you and dine with you, right?
Yeah. I'm tying this all together, Robbie. I'm tying it all
together. Good. And sometimes, I mean, it breaks my heart to think, but I do that. I knock on the door, and then I run away, like the little kid who rings the doorbell and runs. Because I'm scared.
I used to do that when I was a kid.
Did you ever do that, Bill?
You got to claim it. With prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, Paul said. The thanksgiving is, you've got to say, thank you, God.
Stick with my acronym, Bill.
Well, I don't know. That sort of got us in a little trouble in the last section.
It's ask. A is for asking. S is for seeking. And K is for knocking. You have to knock. And think about, really, in Pilgrim's Progress, what an amazing book, by the way. And by the way, it's free. You can go to Google Books and get it on Google Play Books. Absolutely free. One of the greatest Christian classics of all time, Pilgrim's Progress. I have it. It's awesome. And there, what happened before he got to the narrow gate, right? He had to go through the trough of despair. Think how much he started out by asking, and then he was seeking. I mean, he had to go through that trough and all that stuff. His family was beating up on him. Talk about seeking, right? But when he got to the gate, he still had to knock. And it is part of the process. And what a cool thing to think. And it has to do with what we talked about with the Jesus labor of love. That all these people that prayed with us that day that somebody would donate a van for this lady in Raleigh. And, of course, we got needs coming in every week, and I got new ones. But I want to celebrate the ones that I see where God has just come in.
Absolutely.
And obviously, it started out with somebody asking for help, right? And then we had to go out and seek prayer. When we sought people to pray and all this. And then this lady actually called Tom on Monday, or actually over the weekend, and left a message on the Truth Network, to say, Robbie. And so I didn't get the message till like 10 o'clock the next morning, on Monday morning. And I was actually kind of bummed, thinking, well, I don't know what we're going to do for this lady. And then here comes this message where this lady actually said, I want to lock shields with you guys, and I want to donate this car.
Wow.
And it's a 2005 Dodge Caravan.
Wow.
And what a gift.
Now, where was this lady that was donating it? And where's
the lady that needed the vehicle was in Raleigh, actually, in the Cary area. And the lady that donated the vehicle is here in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
And it needed a couple little things done to it. It needed catalytic converter, and it needed this, and we got some help from some other people who donated some money. I mean, if you just saw how God came through in all this, and I just think, wow, all these years I was taught, and I know how well it worked because I sold a whole lot of cars, and I taught a lot of people how to sell cars by understanding the road to the sale, and understanding the road to the sale from a standpoint of, wow, if I really, really, really want to try to find the best car for a customer, the salesmen that could do that were the biggest seekers, the ones that really tried to find the right car, the color that they wanted, had the options they wanted, made sure it was in the price range they wanted, those were the great salesmen. And think about God up there watching how you are seeking. And he loves that. He loves that. But being the greatest seeker in the world does not help you if you don't ask the closing question. At some point in time, you got to get to the point where you go, do you want to get it?
Yeah. And so what can I do to put you in this car today, Rob? Is that the wrong question?
How about a tank with a goat? Would that be
Robbie,
better?
we need your credit card, please.
Well, Bill, getting back to our insurance, did we leave anything off that you wanted to make sure we got covered?
It is a really great idea to, at least every 2 years, sit down with an insurance professional and have them review your entire program to see if for just a couple dollars more you can get 10 times more coverage, or if there's some large hole that you need to consider whether or not to take care of. You need an insurance professional in your life you can sit down with eye to eye and shake their hand and make sure that everything's done properly.
There you go. And we are so excited, really, to have the next episode of Christian Car Guy Theater coming up for you here just a minute.
I'm looking forward to that.
Jailhouse Justice Part 2. And Eustace is on the prowl trying to get bad Brad. It's going to be quite an episode. But in the meantime, you've got plenty of time to make your way over here to where, Tom?
Absolutely. We're Honda of Winston-Salem, and we're on Stratford Road. And did I say the wrong?
Well, it's Honda.
Can-Am, Sea-Doo, all that stuff.
Yes.
The recreational vehicle place. Over
What
nowhere.
a showroom. Amazing.
It
all
is.
the different wonderful rides right here within.
That's because it's fun, family, food, hot Krispy Kreme donuts.
Well, they were hot when we started the show.
Man, you could
There,
spend
Honda,
a whole
Winston-Salem,
afternoon
Can-Am,
just
Sea-Doo,
looking
Honda,
at what they've got here
Winston-Salem.com.
for you.
There we go.
It's got all that, and you can see we're having a lot of fun. Meet Tom Booth, Stu Epperson, Bill Mixon. You could live and in person, and we got lots of gifts and stuff to give away. We would love to see you, and I am so thankful, really, really so thankful for your seeking today to listen to the Christian Car Guy Show, for you staying with us in our silliness, and really for all you guys do for this ministry. We are so appreciative of all the radio stations that carry it as well. God bless. You guys have a great weekend. And now time for Christian Car Guy Theater, with today's episode, Jailhouse Justice, Part 2. Last time on Jailhouse Justice Part 1.
Holy cannoli! Oh, what do you mean, what's a 1074? A 1074? Well, hang on just a second. Let me look here in my pocket guide here. Oh, a 1074. That's a jailbreak! Oh my goodness, from our hospital alley. Brad's on the loose. Oh, Jimmy, can I take your Jeep? I don't think this is a job for the Corolla, and the sheriff has our car out on his way to Denver. Oh, here's the keys to the Corolla, and get Allie somewhere safe. Maybe back to her grandparents. I'll see if I can head them off.
Sure, Eustace. Isn't everyone over at the church? There's been a jailbreak. Shots fired. There were 2 state police guarding Brad, but he escaped just now. Eustace has gone after him.
But what's Eustace gonna do when he catches them?
Ned, boy, was I glad to see you. That was more adventure than I bargained for back there.
Noir's not big on failure, Brad. He wasn't about to risk you saying anything, if you know what I mean. He wanted me to share this with you.
Ned hands Brad a picture, and Brad's face turns to horror.
No, he knows I would never talk. He wouldn't.
And now, Jailhouse Justice, Part 2.
Oh, great. Just great. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. How could Noir even know I had a daughter? And now he's got my daughter. So now I either get that alley dingbat or my daughter suffers her fate. Noir will sell my daughter to that sex trafficking gang. How could I get myself in so deep? I can't even show my face around this place anymore. How in the world can I possibly snatch that girl again? Oh, wait. Oh yeah. Now that might work.
Meanwhile, Eustace is in hot pursuit in Jimmy's Jeep on Highway 11, miles from nowhere and even more miles away from the escaped Brad. Suddenly, it occurs to Eustace that he isn't even driving the police car. He's driving Jimmy's Jeep. The car parts don't miss a thing as Eustace starts talking to himself.
Well, you just can't leave real police work to the state guys. All they had to do was watch one prisoner. You'd think they could handle just one prisoner with all that training they get, for Pete's sake. Well, who am I kidding? I'm the least qualified deputy in Colorado. I mean, I have no business being out here looking for a real criminal. What if I find him without the sheriff? Then what?
Gracie Gas Tank sees that Deputy Eustace is running on empty and injects her 2 cents.
Jeepers, we got trouble. It seems the deputy has dropped his shield.
His shield, mon ami? Oh, Gracie Gasting, are you saying that Eustace cannot be on patrol without his badge?
Not that shield, Frenchie. I'm talking about his shield of faith. He's lost faith in himself. But worse than that, he's forgotten who saved his bacon when Brad shot at him the last time. God, answered Miss Bonnie Sprayer, and that bullet hit his hat, not his head.
Sacre bleu! You are right, Gracie Gastink. The shield of faith is très important. What can we do to get him to raise his shield, Mosey Motor Oil? You are the slick one.
Yeah, I'm the slick one. Yeah, all right. Hey, now, if we could just create a situation where Eustace would call Pastor Jack, see? Now, Pastor Jack, never talks to anybody without offering to pray. Ain't that right? And that will raise that shield. You see what I'm saying? Hey, I got it. Eustace knows that Jimmy has gone to the church, right? Well, remember, if something started happening to the Jeep that Eustace couldn't stop, Eustace would have to call Jimmy. And Jimmy will be there with, guess who? Pastor Jack, that's right, and Bonnie, and Bob, and Miss Annie. Now, if that group can't raise the shield of faith, I don't know who can. You see what I'm saying?
That plan seems a little Mickey Mouse, Mosey. But I'll give it a squirt. Squirt, squirt, squirt.
Now what is it with these darn windshield washers? They won't turn off, dagnammit. Oh, this Jeep has a mind of its own. Oh, phooey. I'm going to have to pull over and call Jimmy.
Eustace carefully pulls the Jeep over and gets Jimmy on the phone.
I'm glad you called, Eustace. We were all so concerned about you. Have you seen Brad or the getaway car?
No, I haven't seen a thing, and I can't see a thing because your windshield washers won't quit. What is wrong with this Jeep?
Gee, Eustace, it's strange, but those washers do tend to act up when there is trouble.
What is it, Jimmy? What's going on?
Jimmy puts his hand over the phone.
Not sure, Pastor Jack. Eustace hasn't seen anything, and now the windshield washers are stuck or something. And Eustace doesn't sound right, Pastor. He just doesn't sound himself.
Let me talk with him, Jimmy.
Jimmy hands Pastor Jack the phone.
Eustace, any sign of anything besides the washer problem?
Well, like I told Jimmy, nothing, Pastor Jack. Nothing but a wet windshield. Listen, Pastor Jack, I just feel like, I don't know, Pastor. I just don't. I'm just not the right man for this kind of job. Well, why couldn't the sheriff be here? This is a highly dangerous situation, and I'm all alone out here with no clues, and I can't see a thing because of this. This Jeep is crazy.
Eustace, any good police officer needs to make sure he is fully equipped, right? And that means you need the full armor for times like this, Eustace. You see, in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, we are told to put on the full armor of God, and the first piece of armor we have to put on is the belt of truth. You need some truth right now, Eustace, and the truth is you are certainly not alone. In fact, those who are with you are greater than those who are against you. You need to believe that truth, Eustace, and believe it with all your heart. When you believe that particular truth, Eustace, not only will you be putting on the belt of truth, but you will be raising up your shield. That shield is part of our armor because the Bible tells us, above all, to take up the shield of faith. We have more armor to equip you with, but for now, let's get these two strapped on, the belt of truth and the shield of faith. Is it all right if I pray, Eustace? That's another part of the armor that is called all prayer.
I don't know, Pastor. You talk a good game, but this is life and death.
Eustace, since these words are straight out of the Bible, I know it's true. The truth is we can trust God even when we can't trust ourselves. Pray with me, Eustace. God is on his way. He will never leave us or forsake us.
All right, Pastor. I guess I have nothing to lose and everything to gain, you might say. And I sure could use that shield of faith right about now.
Heavenly Father, we so desperately need you now. Lord, we always need you, but our brother Eustace needs all the faith you can give him, Father. And all of us here right now, Jimmy and Allie, Bob and Bonnie and Miss Annie, we lock our shields of faith, dear Lord, and we believe that you will come and give our brother Eustace the faith that he needs.
Yes, Lord, we trust you.
Jesus, help Eustace.
Holy Spirit, fill Eustace with your power.
Father, we know that you are ever present in our times of need.
Oh, dear Lord, I know you love Eustace with all your heart, and you will come to his aid.
Tune in next month for another exciting episode of Jailhouse Justice, Part 3. Now, here's Danny Dipstick and Randy Radiator to review today's episode. Randy, do you think Wally Windshield Wiper works for Microsoft?
Why did you say such a crazy thing like that after today's episode, Daddy?
Because he's so good with Windows. It looks like everyone will get a window seat into what's really going on inside Deputy Eustace's mind behind that mask in this episode.
But you're so right, Daddy. Eustace's lack of faith here could really get a lot of folks hurt, maybe even killed. Even one shield down in a Greek army could lead to total defeat. Pastor Jack's lesson on getting Eustace some armor right now couldn't have been more timely. He sure has me listening.
Randy, and this being a car show, you auto listen.
Oh boy! Say goodbye, Daddy.
See you later, Radiator.